All right, next one comes from Bob in Pennsylvania. He asks, Riley Leonard had his second surgery while at Notre Dame. Do you think the Irish can depend on him for a full season? And if not, is their backup QB good enough to make a playoff push?
Well, first and foremost, it's going to be very difficult for me to forecast how the playoffs going to look and how the committee is going to treat Notre Dame. I think they'll get not preferential treatment, but Notre Dame at times has been given, I would say, a slightly longer leash than some other teams, right? Especially against being measured against G5 opponents, being measured against a team that didn't win their conference but had one loss or so. Notre Dame, I think, is always going to be viewed very favorably because they play a challenging schedule. They have really demanding road trips that they often take from coast to coast. So I think Notre Dame is always going to be in a really strong position to be in the playoff conversation. The problem is you lose your starting quarterback. I don't care how good your backup is. It's going to be very difficult for the committee to wrap their head around it. We saw that last year with Florida State. We also think about, too, the tightrope procedure. That's what he had. Now, he had the ankle injury last year. Remember, he got injured, I believe it was against Notre Dame, if I'm not mistaken. But he got hurt against Notre Dame, their final drive. And in one of those surgeries, and I'm not a doctor, but I'm familiar enough with the tightrope procedure to know that it's one of those strange surgeries, not that dissimilar to Tommy John, where the injured body part actually comes back stronger than the naturally occurring ligaments. Okay. So his ankle, in theory, will be stronger prior to the injury taking place. That's the beauty of the tightrope procedure. And the only problem with the tightrope is that sometimes you can come back in 3 weeks. Other times it takes 8 weeks. Like Tua Tagovailoa came back in like 17 days post-op. And then last year at Georgia, their right tackle under Armarius Mims underwent the tightrope procedure and was out 8 weeks. So that's the only thing that's a bit challenging is just the timeline for you to get back. Now, in the event in which Riley Leonard can't go, knock on wood, right? Knock on wood. I actually like their prospects behind them. Now, Steve Angeli is not going to blow you away. He doesn't come in with some ridiculously high ceiling, doesn't come in with that 5-star hype that you're going to have at other places. But think about the efficiency. Okay. Now, his career stats, while not mind-blowing, are pretty dang impressive. The guy is a 77% career passer. He's thrown for over 500 yards, 7-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. And while it's a small sample size, it either took place in garbage time or in the Sun Belt against a heavily depleted Oregon State team. But hey, when he's been in there, he's been good, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this is a quarterback competition. I fully expect Riley Leonard to be the guy, but in the event in which Angeli is thrust into the lineup, I think he's better than Drew Pine. I think he's better than some of the options that Notre Dame has had to go to in the past. And then as far as future quarterbacks, you look at what they have looking down the line a little bit, whether it's Kenny Minchey or CJ Carr. In the event in which those two guys can get in front of Angeli, then those guys were pretty highly regarded. And hopefully by the time they could get thrust in the lineup, will have developed enough to be the quarterback of the future, more than likely starting in 2025. But I think Angeli is not going to go down quietly. I think he's a lot better than Irish fans might think. And he would be a guy I would absolutely want on the roster because he's a veteran that has played and has played well when given the opportunity.